Really excited to have this cast from Rogue One to joining us today. To kick it off, I want to introduce reprising and resurrecting the role of Tarkin, the CGI Tarkin. Please welcome to our virtual stage, Guy Henry. Guy Henry, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
Good, good. You have to start us off. Tell us what region of the world are you calling in from?
I'm from a very beautiful sunny suburb of London called Streatham Common. There's a slightly strange cabinet behind me, which might be shouting rather loudly, but I'm full of roast chicken and Sancerre wine, but it's very nice to be with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then also joining us on our virtual stage, mother of Jin, playing Lura Erso. Please welcome Valine Kane. How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
Tell us where are you tuning in from?
I'm tuning in from a little island of England called the Isle of Wight.
Oh.
I know it well. I know it well. I was there
Do
for my
you?
60th birthday last weekend.
Oh, what, really?
Yes, I know. I look so young. It's disgusting, isn't it?
You do look not a day over 40.
So for those of us that are across the pond, where is it a big island? Is it
No, it's a tiny
idea.
little island just at the very bottom of England.
Okay.
And this very evening, just to be topical,
I
there
know.
is a great big cargo ship of some kind full of possible stowaways that the police of the marine waves are having a terrible problem with.
Oh my God.
So we're nothing if not au courant.
Very true.
All right. In addition to these guests, we also have incredibly talented puppeteer. Please welcome an actor. Please welcome Aidan Cook to our virtual stage.
Yeah!
Hello, Aidan.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Really good.
You look like you're about to go on set.
never
You're in your green screen. You're ready to go.
Things tend to happen at very short notice, so at any given point, I might sort of morph into something, and disappear off. So,
There you go. Everyone's been sharing where they're calling in from. Where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm also from southwest London. I live in Barnes, which is another leafy suburb. Which is, if you have to be in London, it's not a bad place to be. So.
Yeah.
Oh yes, but you're incredibly posh. I feel I should bow slightly. Incredibly posh.
Yes, yes.
Common.
Yes. I live in a pent shed here. It's quite nice.
And rounding out our panel is Captain Cato. Welcome, please welcome Angus Wright.
Hello.
How you doing?
I just moved my screen over to have a good look at Angus because we were at the RSC together. God knows how many years ago.
We were 30 years ago.
And
Angus,
you
what
still look
region?
gorgeous.
Sorry, Tony, say again.
Oh, just what region of the world are you calling in from?
I'm in Notting Hill, Portobello
Okay.
Road.
Yeah.
So right in the center of town.
Awesome. Well, I asked because we have fans that are tuning in from all over the world. We've got them from Massachusetts, Chicago, Mexico City, and of course, all over the UK. And so thank you so much for taking a few moments to share your experiences with Rogue One. But before we go into all that, tell us, obviously our whole world has been turned upside down the past 9 months. Currently where you're at, what's the quarantine like now? Is it locked down? Is it fairly opened up? Like what's in your area? God, let's start with you. What's it like in your area?
Me?
Yeah. Just like
we're in tier 2, which means that you can't mingle with households inside a building, but you can spit at each other from outside a building to your heart's content. It's I don't know. It's a very, very make it up as you go along situation, I think.
Yeah.
But we're not in the highest tier here in England yet, which a lot of the north of England, funnily enough, is.
Yeah, we
anyone
seem
else
to be
anything?
heading slightly in the wrong direction again. So I think things are gradually, we're sort of erring towards another national lockdown, but it seems to be being done very piecemeal, a little bit here and a little bit there. And so I think we're about half the population is currently locked down. We've just moved into tier 2 of a 3-tier cake, which will probably turn into a 4-tier cake when things get even worse, you know, but that seems to be the
when
general.
The military arrive on the streets. Yeah.
Yes, that's yeah. So it's it's difficult to plan, put it that way, and things seem to change on a daily basis. So
it sounds very similar to what's happening here in the U.S. We're kind of trending back up, and
where are you, Tony? Where are you based?
Southern California.
All right.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
Yeah, it normally is. Actually, today's our first sort of fall day, so we're kind of enjoying the cooler weather. So, well, let's jump into it. We'd love to hear, before we get to particulars about your role and experiences, we'd love to hear about how you came across your particular part. And so, Guy, it was such a when they announced Rogue One. And the first images for Rogue One came out, I think fans are really just blown away by the first glimpses of Tarkin, that Tarkin was returning back to us. And so I got to imagine that was a very unusual role for you to return back as a character that we thought we never would see on screen again. And so tell us how that opportunity came about for you.
Well, my secret agent, as an actor, we all have agents, and mine, Jane, rang me up and said, there's a ridiculously entirely secret meeting you're going to have with a director. I can't tell you what it's for. I don't even know. But they're taking you. They took me to the most public, gossipy sort of place in London's glittering West End to talk secretly about what I was going to do. And the director was quite upfront about it and said, we're hoping, we don't know how we're going to do it, but we want to recreate, probably with a massively throbbing CGI, we're going to recreate the great wonderful Peter Cushing. And I'd always loved Peter Cushing as an actor myself. I thought he was a very fine and lovely actor. So I was immediately hysterically frightened because I had to, never mind Kathy Kennedy and all the big guns from Hollywood. I, as an actor, and Angus will understand this, I didn't want to let down the lovely Peter Cushing. And he said, at that point, genuinely, I think they said, well, we will either use you with some makeup and a bit of CGI, or we'll go full CGI, which is, I think, what they really wanted to do, or we'll just use you. In the end, they went, and I'm delighted. It was a brilliant coup for the full CGI. But I was there at this secret meeting, and there was some. I do a television program in England called Holby City, so I'm quite well known for that. And there were some people behind me at the lunch that I had with the director Gareth, and they got up and swooped upon me and said, "Oh, we really like you in Holby City." It was as if I'd paid them to say what a good actor I was,
which you had.
Which I had, yeah. But it was, I mean, I have to say, I've said it, but totally bizarre thing to have to do. I'm not a mimic. I'm not an impressionist at all. My greatest impression, I think, is of Peter O'Toole, who was my hero. Fuck you all. But Peter Cushing, no, he has a higher voice. It's more in the nose than mine. I tried very hard to get it right. And we did a sort of screen test thing. And it's just such a pleasure to have had a go without hopefully letting that lovely actor down. That was my main my main concern.
Yeah, awesome, great. And how about Valine? Can we ask you for Lyra? How did you come across this part and opportunity?
God, I wish my story was as sexy as yours, Guy, or as long. I can throw it out though. Again, yeah, my agent sent a tape. I originally auditioned for Jin, along with probably thousands of girls across the world, and they really liked me for Jin. And I went back and forth with her for a while, and then obviously didn't get the part. It went to Felicity, and then I got a lovely call from Gareth to say that he wanted me to play Jin's mother, which I was totally.
They're not a horrible bunch, though, are they? Particularly no. John Knowles, John Schwartz, the producer, and Anna D. Gareth. And, they're not horrible, are they? I'm not surprised that he did that.
Yeah, for such a. I mean, I think that's what was so special. Particularly, I mean, I was such a huge Star Wars fan. I grew up watching it with my dad in Ireland. But I think it was what was so unusual and brilliant about it was that Gareth brought an independent feel. So even though it was this huge studio film, it still felt like, for me, I come from an indie film background. So it really felt like I was working with an independent director and on an independent set, even though it wasn't, rather than, something huge in studio like. But yeah, I was incredibly thrilled to be a part of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, of course. It's great.
Oh, a great honor, I think. But also, I do this, as I said, this teleseries Holby City, which is a long-running and, at its best, very good Tuesday night drama. It's not a soap.
What time?
What?
Sorry, what time?
It's 8 o'clock on BBC One on a Tuesday night, and it's a good show. But half the crew on the big Star Wars thing at Pinewood were boys I knew from Holby City, because there's only so many people who are good at props, good at pointing the boom, good at photographing you. So I felt slightly more relaxed knowing that there's Ted from Holby City. That's good.
And Aidan, you've been a part of the bringing many different characters to life in the Star Wars universe. And so, can you tell us? I guess when they announced that Rogue One was going to be happening, was that something that you sort of took the initiative to pursue, or was it something that because of your work it came to you, or how did that come about?
I think it kind of worked that way around. I think it's I'm in the general world of acting and I've sort of done all sorts over the years, but over the last sort of 10 years or so, I seem to have specialised more and more in creature work and creature performance work. So from all sorts of primate stuff and that. And I was actually working on a series here, which people in this country would be familiar with, and in the US, Doctor Who, and working on a series with a friend of mine, actually, who really has kind of specialised in creature work, and a chap called Paul Casey, who is actually has been the movement director, the creature movement director for all of the 5 movies that have gone so far. And we happened to be working together on one of the Peter Capaldi Doctor Who's, and he said he was compiling a list of performers. He'd been asked to compile a list of people, couldn't tell me what it was, couldn't tell me when it was all top secret, but my name was definitely on the list. And then there was a lot of talk in the ether about Star Wars starting, and I sort of tried to impress on my agent that I should be considered for it, etc., etc. Didn't hear anything, and then out of the blue got a call saying, could I come in with literally just a handful of other people to do some sort of pre-production work, a bit of blue sky thinking on some creatures, which Neil Scanlon, who's head of the department, wanted to surprise, Kathleen Kennedy and co with. So they were coming over to look at a lot of the creature designs, a lot of the creature artwork. And the way the system works tends to be that they come along, they look at the ones they want, they choose the ones they want, they get green lit to go ahead and make them. And then it's not necessarily, you won't necessarily know at that point what role they're going to play in the film, especially for a lot of the kind of the background ones. Some of them might be promoted, but unless there's something very specific that's written into the script that early on, you won't know exactly which creature you're going to get or which one you're going to do. So I went in and we worked on that, and then very happily, that started my association with all of the films really, and I've been part of teams puppeteering huge creatures, with 15, 20 or more different puppeteers working things, down to doing, I think this was, I don't know if you can see this fella. Yeah, this was like one of my first ones. I don't know if I can get that on there.
Yeah. So
that was about sort of 40 kilos of center weight in the salt flats out in Abu Dhabi, and with my head inside a foam latex frog. Who I had actually featured.
Are you sure it wasn't Vauxhall?
It was. Yeah, and then I think. Neil's been very good at keeping together a core team. I think they're the people that he likes to work with, people that are happy to go the extra mile, people who are happy to put up with the various sort of inconveniences and discomforts of a lot of that kind of work without complaining. So irrespective of all of that, a massive privilege to be involved. And then with Rogue One, what was interesting was the Two Tubes character, which is the main sort of character that I have in that one, amongst about one of sort of 5 or so different things I was involved with. But that was the one that really kind of came to life, during the reshoots, actually, during all the additional photography that kind of went on. I think Tony decided he liked that character and promoted him.
Tony Gilroy, you mean?
Yeah, Tony Gilroy, yeah. So what tends to happen with the creatures is that you come as a team of 3 or 4 people, even if you're a single creature. Very often you can't see what you're doing, you can't hear what you're doing, and you can't breathe, and you don't know where you are or where the camera is or which way you're pointing. So you have a puppeteer who's doing the animated sort of expressions and any lip sync and stuff on your face. You have them in one ear and you have the sort of general dialogue in the other ear. And then you have a dresser who rushes in and out to sort of give you oxygen in between takes, because when the mouth is closed, you generally can't see, and the head fills up with CO2 and you start to sort of pass out. So it's
very COVID secure.
It's quite good. But with Two Tubes, there are no animatronics. He has a very kind of impassive face. Brilliant. Any expression that you want to get out of it is just done with a sort of slight tilt of the head or an attitude of the body. And also I could handle props. So I think that helped out with certain bits and bobs, especially with the Saw Gerrera scenes and things. So it was pure luck that I was in that costume at that time, and I'm hugely grateful. Yeah, I've had 2 front covers now on the Marvel comics as well, so it was a result, that one.
Awesome. Angus, tell us about how you got introduced into the Star Wars universe.
Well, it was unusual for me in that for something this big, I was involved in the reshoots, so which I didn't know. I was told by my agent it was called the Gareth Edwards Project, and I Googled that and worked out it was Star Wars. and so had a meeting that I put myself on tape the next day in a studio in Twickenham. And I could tell it was a kind of a crisis scene, because I had lines to say that were kind of, thrusters full power, and did a bit of shouting in a room. And then 2 days later was told I had the part. 3 days later, I was trying on a costume of a rebel commander. So I realized I'm a rebel, that's good. And 4 days later, I was at Shepperton and shot over 2 days. And I was done, and the film opened probably a month after that, or 6 weeks after that. So my whole Star Wars time was this. It was like, wow. And friends of mine would say, "So you did some Star Wars?" And I said, "Yeah, it's opening next week." It's a really
Wow.
truncated short time. So
you were at Shepperton, were you?
oh, maybe I
Shepperton.
wasn't. Where was I?
Well,
could have
I
been-
thought you were at Pinewood, darling. but I
Pinewood.
don't-
That's the one.
But they actually shot at Pinewood, Black Hanger, Long Cross, a little bit at Shepperton as well. And
Where did we? Well,
Really?
Guy and I, one of the things as well is I didn't know what my scene was. I didn't know what. I knew I was piloting a Hammerhead Corvette, and I was called Hammerhead Captain. I later found out I was called Captain Kado Okwone, really from a fan. I was doing theatre at the time, and a fan, after it opened, and a fan turned up at the stage door, and I'd just done 3 hours of Shakespeare playing Claudius in Hamlet, and this guy went, "You were so good," and I went, "Oh, thank you." In Star Wars. I'm like, all right, you didn't see this.
Fuck off.
But he told me that I was called Captain Kado Okwone, and I didn't know that at all. So there's this whole history behind it as well. So, but it was fantastic. It was a really good experience. It was a short experience, but an intense, and I had a really good time.
Well,
you
highlighted something there about you went in, you didn't know what you were doing, you didn't know who you were called. They give you your sides on the day, which are in red and black, so you can't photocopy them and show them to anyone else, and you have to sign them in and out. You have absolutely no idea. And you don't find out what your name is until they publish the book.
Also, I have to say, if you are colorblind like I am, you can't read the fucking script anyway. I didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, as we all know, Star Wars is a worldwide phenomenon, and for us here in the U.S., it's similar to the Doctor Who there in the UK. Like many of us have grown up with it, and it's been an integrated part of our life. But as Valeen had mentioned earlier, do you have a particular story of when Star Wars first became in your consciousness at a young age? Was it, were you a fan? Were you pretty much like oblivious to it all the way up to the part? Or, was Star Wars sort of a part of your upbringing at any point? Anyone?
Well, I mean, I talked about it. It was a huge part of my upbringing. I mean, film was a huge part of my life, and kind of like how me and my father communicated. So for me, it was like, this amazing story, and I'd seen all the movies. So from 4 or 5 years old.
Had you really? Because I had no understanding of it at all. It was so exciting to go into it without being a fan at all. And I'd done Harry Potter a bit in the last Harry Potter films, and I watched those religiously, and then I got this part, and I thought, well, have a look. I'd never been a fan, but what I've noticed now, hence us chatting together tonight and doing conventions and things, is how brilliant it is and how much people love it. I had never ever seen it, frankly.
I don't think I had an inkling of how big it was until I really enjoyed the films when I was younger, and had them on VHS, and used to watch them with my own children and things as well. But I did Hellboy 2. I played a character in Hellboy 2, and was invited out to the San Diego Comic-Con. Right. And I was just absolutely kind of blown away by the size of it. I mean, Doctor Who is big and popular and has a huge following, but Star Wars really is an entire universe unto itself, and I think once I'd been out there and experienced that, and this was before my involvement with Star Wars, so when the prospect of or the opportunity of being able to work on it came up, it was probably the most exciting thing that's happened really in the last decade.
I found one of the things I remember watching the very first one in the cinema, and I was early teens, and the thing that struck me, which is kind of was a philosophical thing, really, which puzzled me, because it's about a galaxy far, a long time ago. And it struck me that this film was set in the past, which I found really intriguing, because science fiction is all about the future. And Star Wars begins by saying, in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. And so I remember spending quite a lot of I think I must have been about, I don't know, 16 or something. And I was probably reading Camus and philosophy and thinking so I took it as this challenge of like, so this happened a long time ago. So how do we get to where we are now in the 70s? But that was the film I remember very clearly as the first one. And I'm not sure I saw the others until much later. So, but it was a kind of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Apocalypse Now are 3 films of my teenage years that really cemented in my head. Well,
let me take a brief moment to do a little commercial for Wizard World here. Just a reminder to everybody, don't forget for fans that are watching live to watch us later on Twitch, Facebook, and on YouTube. Check out those paid exclusive experiences like the one-on-one private video chats, autographs, the custom recorded messages at wizardworldvirtual.com. And again, all these guests on this panel today will be available about a week from today. So, well, whether you've been a part of Star Wars for a long time or a little time, probably doesn't take that long to learn that the one thing that Star Wars fans are very passionate and very opinionated about Star Wars. And but there are many that would say that in the modern era of Star Wars, that Rogue One is the best. It really was such an unexpected and such a mystery as far as like the sort of offshoot story. And so it was a real unexpected, but an incredible addition to the Star Wars universe. One thing, we get all kinds of questions from fans in regards to Star Wars. And but one consistent question that we always get from fans about Star Wars is, this comes in from a fan, Todd Trimper, and he asks, was there anything that you kept from your role, like props or anything, that memorabilia from your role? Because every fan, that's like the dream of every fan, is to own something that's a legitimate part of Star Wars. And so anyone? Aidan, I got to imagine with all the creature work, you've got to have a closet full of things.
Oh, the answer is no, not really, or officially, put it that way, because on the whole, it was the same with Doctor Who. Every single prop, every single little sort of weapon or anything like that, it tends to be signed in and signed out at the end of the day. If you the prop masters on it are brilliant. So, if you have any particular weapons or stuff like that, they're literally just put in your hand before you start shooting. And I remember getting the big gun for 2 tubes and that. And what hadn't actually sort of figured out was that I had to aim it. I was down behind a wall aiming it up at various people like that. I couldn't actually get it onto my shoulder because of the distance between the back of the stock and the trigger and stuff like that. So I was trying so it didn't really even have much of a chance to even sort of play with it or familiarize yourself with it, which is an actor's thing. If you have props, you like to be familiar and comfortable with them so that you don't fluff things up once they turn the camera on. But on the whole, no, you can't really get away with anything, and I think you'd be in trouble if you were to found out many things. Maybe in 50 years' time, something might appear on eBay or something. You never know. But
I tried to take my Hammerhead Corvette ship away.
Drive it out again.
I was stopped on the M25.
Yeah.
I actually have the artwork, but that was I didn't steal that. That was given to me because I remember when I went to my first costume fitting and I saw the artwork, I was so sort of bamboozled by the fact that they had drawn such a brilliant depiction of me, and I was like, oh wow. So of course, because you guys knew it was me way before I knew that I'd got the part, because then you started drawing the costume and stuff, and so that the beautiful picture of me and young Jin and me holding the staff, I said, can I please have this, because I really want it. And so like a time later it was given to me, because you're not allowed to take anything then and there. It's like, you know, it's like Fort Knox. So I do love that piece of memorabilia. I mean, I should have really stolen the crystal because there was a few. Yeah. I'm sure I could have just like popped it somewhere. No one would have known. I could have just blamed it on a prop guy, but I thought better not. That's not good karma.
Yeah.
No, they are. You're absolutely right. They're very particular about protecting the way the story's going, protecting who the characters are. You have to put a little a cloak on if you go outside for a cigarette with Ben Mendelsohn or something. I've given up since, obviously, but they are very, very particular. That and I think it's lovely because the whole thing is a fantasy. The whole thing is a wonderful goodies and baddies story, and it's gone on for, oh God, half our lifetimes. I was 60 last weekend, and I don't remember a time when Star Wars wasn't there. Even though I didn't really buy into it, it's such a huge part of our lives. One of the most iconic theme tunes ever written. People absolutely, when you go to the Comic Cons, you realize people absolutely love it. So I didn't even tell my parents that I was going to pretend to be Peter Cushing. I mean, my parents aren't on the interweb. They know nothing about, they wouldn't have told anybody. They wouldn't have told people who live in their village. But I was so keen not to let the secret out of the bag that Tarkin, was going to have a few lines here and there again and live again. It's so romantic. I love it.
I think you. I mean, there's a huge NDA that you're expected to sign before they let you anywhere near anything, and I think they would tend to view it very dimly if you came out and let out anything to do with it. Like I said, when we were first at Pinewood, before they put all the fencing around it, Disney sort of came in and turned it into Fort Knox. Prior to that, you could actually just drive in and out quite comfortably and wander around there and see who was wandering to the canteen, dressed as curious creatures and stuff like that. But I remember when we were doing the show and tell with the creatures. So they build the creatures and then they do a show and tell with the directors. And they had, they put up all this fencing. They then put tarpaulins over all the fencing, and there were drones being flown over to try and get a look at the creature. So wow. that massive amount of interest, they are. It's brilliant because it's self-promoting, for on the one hand, but on the other hand, you're desperately trying not to give anything away. And I've been in the incredibly privileged position to sort of do the makeup tests for certain very sort of big names and numbers on it, in other films. And I knew about these way back because they were trying to recreate certain things, certain looks and certain techniques and things. But I would have been taken out and shot probably if I'd said anything about it, at the time. Yeah. So again, it's a little bit frustrating, but also very privileged, to be in that position to hold those secrets as well. So that's nice.
Yeah.
The important thing is people love it, don't they? And you be marched hither and thither to the canteen or to have a wee, and you're not allowed to go in on your own. I've been in clubs like that in Vauxhall, but it's they do that. It's people just love it. That's the great thing about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Really, people have fun.
We if we take a pause on the topic of Star Wars, fans also want to know, in this incredibly surreal time that we're living in right now, in the past 9 months now of quarantine, have a lot of course it's hard to work, it's hard to do a lot of to do our normal daily activities, but is there anything new that you've picked up, any new interest, hobby, a new series, TV show you're watching, new books that you're reading? Is there anything that you want to personally sort of share that you've spent the past 9 months?
I bet Valerie has. Go on.
Well, it's Valine, so I mean, I don't know who Valerie is, but she's probably doing something too.
Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on.
All right. I actually.
We never met.
What?
We never met.
No, but I can see your name is Guy.
I can't. Sorry. I knew I'd get that wrong.
Don't worry.
Valine.
I actually bought a camper van and toured around Ireland, which was always a dream of mine and something I never thought that I could do. And I was actually meant to start shooting a really cool science fiction movie in April that I was really excited about and is now pushed. And so I thought this is the only time I'm ever going to be able to do this dream of buying a camper van and seeing my homeland. So that is what I've been doing. And
that's awesome.
It was very cool.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I feel like I've been sort of much more constrained because the thing I love doing most is climbing, and sort of going out on my motorbike and that as well. I like going out on sort of adventure motorbiking with a couple of my brothers. We usually do a tour during the summer, and it's been very difficult to do any of those things. And certainly work-wise, it's all been self-tapes for things, and then I've done, I don't know, a dozen or so self-tapes for different things like voiceover things or commercials or little bits and bobs of films. And you never really find out whether they are even going ahead, in the end. You get pencil for some. I got pencil for a couple of things, 3 things, in fact. And then I got a call from Spain on one of them saying, "Oh, this is the production manager. Your pencil for next week." I said, "Oh, actually, I hadn't heard. No, that's really good news." And they went, "Yes, we've actually offered the job to somebody else, but you're on standby in case they get ill." So, and that happened to me a couple of times. So, I mean, it's just been a very, very weird time. The good news is that the Cassian Andor series is trying to crank itself up again, and I don't need to keep my fingers crossed that I will be involved.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Excellent. I'm very envious, actually.
That's Tony Gilroy. Is that Tony Gilroy?
That's very exciting.
Tony Gilroy, who said to me when he did the reshooty stuff, "Oh, you've got to dance. You've got to dance." Peter, I don't remember Peter Cushing dancing. Do you? He was trying to get me to be less stilted and boring, and I take my hat off to him. Yeah. But did
he's
Peter
very good.
Cushing dance his way through those lines? I don't think so.
He was going to be directing the first block, but he's because of COVID and everything, he's staying in the States now. So he's still showing.
That's the reason they're giving, is it? Not because he not because he gets wrong.
Yes, that's the reason. Yeah, but so I mean, I'm really kind of disappointed not to be seeing him because he was. I got on very well with him, and I really loved working with him. A really lovely guy. But hopefully,
he's absolutely brilliant. He wrote some of the Bourne Supremacy stuff. Yeah. He's a very, very good man, and I absolutely take my hat off to him. He tried to make me better as Peter Cushing. I mean, obviously he failed, but he did very, very well, as he reminded me at the premiere.
Guy or Angus, is there any pandemic activities that you want to mention?
I was supposed to be in New York through the summer doing theatre. That was pulled, and it's been rescheduled for next summer. But I don't know if we'll even make it next summer. But the Armory in New York, which is a big theatre art space, and the plan is to do Hamlet and Oresteia, 2 big tragedies there. We were going to do them this summer. Now the plan is next summer, maybe even summer 22. So that's the crazy world we're in, where it's,
What would you be playing in Hamlet?
Claudius in Hamlet and Agamemnon in the Oresteia. That's the plan.
Yeah. But I was going to say, we're not old enough yet to play Polonius, are we? You and I.
You're getting there. But there's a part of lockdown that I really enjoyed, which was reading. And one of the things that actors experience all the time is the relentless pressure to get the next job. And what it relieved was that, to know that everyone from, Benedict Cumberbatch to whoever was all on the starting line of no work at all was an immense relief, because actually you could just go, there isn't any work coming in. And so you could let all of that go.
Have a life.
And have a kind of, a restrictive life, but also, if you're with someone you love, it was fantastic. It was just a kind of a place where you could hunker down. I read a lot, read about Black Lives Matter, read about Trump, read about the pandemic. So in a way, it was a break from the forced ambition that this job can create in you. And I think a lot of actors have found a kind of enormous release of just going, I don't have to say to anyone, no, I'm not working at the moment, because they know we're not working.
I think also, even now, with things sort of going slightly the wrong way, you have to be resigned to the fact that things are just going to potentially get kicked down the road. And the only, from my personal point of view, the fact that that I seem to be have been earmarked for something on the series and stuff like that, as well as general kind of creature work. It's I'm fairly confident that will happen at some point, but whether it happens this year or next year or the year after, I don't know. But I can't imagine Disney will strike it off and decide that it's not a good idea to go ahead with it. So knowing that is there in the future is actually quite consoling. But you just have to resign yourself to the fact that things are not normal.
Yeah.
No.
Well, as we unfortunately only have a couple minutes left. So with that, Angus and Aidan already sort of alluded to this, but is there, in our closing remarks, is there anything that we can look forward to professionally, or if there's just something personal that you want to mention, a cause, a charity, or anything that you would like to mention? This would be a great time. And so, Guy, is there anything that you want to share that's happening professionally, or anything personally that you want to plug?
No, except that, the world is doolally at the moment, isn't it? Human beings are having a terrible, terrible, dark, worrying time. Nevertheless, animals, I know, I'm sorry, I'm going to go, animals are the charities that support animals are, of course, having a very, very tough time. So I'd say don't forget them. And particularly the Galgos greyhounds in Spain, which are being tortured to the tune of 30,000 every year or more. They hang them up so they can only touch the ground with their claws. I know it's a weird world we're living in, but don't forget them, I'd say.
Thank you. Valine, is there anything you'd like to let us know about?
Just thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
To talk to you all tonight.
Yeah, thank you for being here, guys. And if you're in the US, vote.
Yes.
And vote wisely.
Yes. It is. It's the U.S. is burning down to the ground right now, so we need everyone to vote.
It's going to be fine.
To wear, and we need everyone to wear masks too. So, Well, let me just give our final sort of shout out. So, thank you again to all of our amazing guests. Thank you for all of our fans that have been watching. Please check out our paid exclusive experiences, including our one-on-one private chats, custom recorded messages, and autographs. And those are always on sale at wizardworldvirtual.com. And we'll continue to do so throughout the week. And again, this amazing cast will be available for purchase, one-on-ones in about a week. So even if you're watching this on replay, check out the opportunities online and connect with your favorite cast member. And so again, thank you all. Thank you, Guy, Valine, Aidan, and Angus for joining us. And please stay safe. And to all the fans watching, wear your masks, vote, and thank you. And join us again for Wizard World Virtual. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Cody.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.